But from the sounds of it, you basically you're already keen to get back in training, right?
I'd love to. I'm ready to go do some jiu-jitsu.
What up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another Sound of Violence podcast. Quick note up front, we actually recorded this episode last night on Friday, the night before the fights. However, for the first half, for our part we talk about MMA podcasts you should check out, turns out that part actually didn't end up getting recorded successfully, which is a pain. So I am going to go back through. Chris's side turned out fine. My side, Pulver, my side was totally fucked. So I'm going to go back through and re-record just my picks. But if it sounds super disjointed and weird for the first half of the show, that is why. Good news is we do have a solution coming soon and some pretty neat announcements and whatnot here before too long. So apologies ahead of time, but I will go ahead and start off. Oh, I should say, I am drinking while I record this the next morning, the Horchata, O-R space X-A-T-A from the brewery. It is an extremely cinnamon-forward beer. I believe it is. It's a blonde ale brewed with rice, lactose, and natural cinnamon and vanilla added. And it's a hella breakfast beer, so I'm going to go ahead and pour this, and I'll get into my catch. Actually, you know what? We'll start with Chris's catch, so here's that.
So, the one, and I'm an idiot because I had my fucking thing. Okay, never mind, we're good. For me, for my catch for this week, is Canada's Sports Center, as you might call them, Toronto Sports Network MMA Show. The first thing they talked about was Javier Rodriguez's knockout, one of the greatest ever, which was a sentiment that was shared amongst other podcasts as well, and just the MMA social sphere. I feel like it's kind of fair to really say that. Or I forgot, are we recapping it briefly? I can't remember, because I know everyone, that's kind of what most... Yeah, I'll just say now, it was a very, very sudden knockout. I was very fucking hyped. I didn't see it. Yeah, who was, I think Joe? I think it was Joe. He said he agreed initially with Felder that he thought it was a headbutt because it was just at a weird angle. Yeah, I liked listening to these two guys. I know they basically said, was it a comeback win? Not really, because Zombie would have gotten the nod. I mean, he was up on my scorecard. I mean, I 100% think it's a comeback win. I thought he's gonna lose that fight, and then holy fuck, he just knocks him out. A walk-off win too, which is pretty much impossible to do in mixed martial. Not impossible because of flash KOs and all that and sudden counters, but they both just got Zombie controlled the pressure, but Yair had the distance. They both had it 2-2 going into the fifth round. They said two of the judges had it 3-1 for Zombie. I can't remember. I think it was Aaron. Yeah, Aaron was talking about one of Joe's kickboxing shows. I don't know how many years ago this was. He saw Run the Jewels perform, which he was hyped about, and Joe unfortunately didn't know who Run the Jewels was. And for those listening, if you don't know who Run the Jewels is, please check them out. They're a great rap duo. Yeah, in a fucking era now of just lean fucking mumble rappers, and yes, they're good at parties, but please, let's bring it back to the basics, man. I'm not gonna go on a hip hop fucking rant. Anyways, enough with hip hop. They talked about they talk about Cowboy, his big win, and the fact that I think Cowboy, was he the one that said the UFC is offering him Conor? Or is that all hearsay? It's like just kind of, yeah, it's smoke and mirrors for now. Just like we say on Reddit or on the internet about Dana, don't believe his lies. They discussed the landscape of upcoming fights, or what they would like to see at 155, because who doesn't want to see great... I mean, every fight in that division is pretty much a fucking barn burner or an intriguing matchup. They said Khabib versus Tony has to happen next. I agree. They would like to see Aldo versus Conor at 155. I would like to see that fight. They said Tony Ferguson, they believe, has the best toolkit out of all 155ers potentially defeat Khabib. I think so too at this point. So this is the one thing that I really liked about this episode and why it's my catch, and I'll stop after this. I never thought about this, but so they discussed the announcement of Henry Cejudo versus TJ Dillashaw at 125 pounds. So, yes, this is probably the last ever flyweight fight. That's not what I want to say mad about. Okay, this is the thing. What they discussed is this fight is bad in general because it holds up the bantamweight division even more. Why do you say so? So, if Henry Cejudo wins, guess who fights TJ Dillashaw at 135 next? Henry Cejudo. Guess why that's bad for 135? Well, they mentioned in the last... Well, yep. Or a Sun Sao, or... Yep, they verbally agreed. It's going to be a very, very good decision fight. Just kidding. Don't mean to disrespect them. They said the last 3 to 4 years, if you've looked at title shots at 135, have literally been compiled of just 4 men. Uriah Faber, Dominic Cruz, Cody Garbrandt, and TJ Dillashaw. That's fucking insane. So yeah, the moral of that story was let other guys get a shot at 135. I agree. I think they announced Cruz is fighting Lineker, which is... it's not a bad fight, but I just kind of see it going as how any other Cruz fight would go. Yes, Lineker hits hard as shit, but he's not like Garbrandt. he's just way more one-dimensional. I don't really know what I think of that fight. Initially I just think Cruz kind of coasts to a decision and then WrestleFucks him, and that's about it. That's all I have to say about that fight. Either way, they said the 125 division never really had a true contender because everyone in that title picture was defeating each other, which fucked up the title picture. You'd be like, oh, Benavidez, okay, he needs to, oh no, he's going to lose Sergio Pettis. Oh wait, he's going to beat Cejudo. Oh wait, Cejudo's going to beat this guy. Oh, Formiga's going to beat and it's just like, if you try MMA math at 125, you're going to quit. It literally doesn't add up. It's just not good. Yeah. And they said, does the entire division, flyweight division, go to 1? That was like a joke, but I'd watch it. There's still some fun fight. I want to see the most is, not Cejudo, Mighty Mouse versus Horiguchi 2. Let's fucking see that fight. So, that brings us to, what is your catch that you recommend?
All right, that was Chris's catch. I really like TSN MMA Show. It's dope. It has Joseph Valtellini and Aaron Bronster hosting. I really enjoy it, so definitely agree with his recommendation to check that out. My catch this week was going to be one thing, but actually Chris has that as his can't miss, so we'll get to that in a minute. My other catch is Writer and the Fighter, episode 25, again hosted by Jake Smith, Uber Smitty of Bellator, and by David Golden, the writer up for Oregon Sports something. I can't remember. Anyway, it's a dope episode. Excuse me. Literally just woke up. They talk about how Cerrone hit that aggressive sweep in his fight against Perry. They talk about how Cerrone evidently has a pass for IVs at 155 because of that intestine injury he suffered from when he had that accident on a dirt bike a long time ago. I haven't heard people talk about that a ton, and so I'm not sure. I believe it was Uber Smitty who brought that up on the show, and it's kind of interesting. It's something I want to dig into a bit, because I hadn't heard that he had a continued TUE at 155. So, pretty interesting. Let's see. They talk about how cutting the 125 division fucks up both flyweight and bantamweight for a bunch of reasons. And then they pitch their reality show of Bob Sapp and Warren Sapp hanging out, being buddies, and living in a house together. Just a goofy episode, but I really enjoyed it. So why don't we go ahead and jump into the show Chris recommends skipping. Again, just because we say to skip your show doesn't mean we necessarily hate you or your show. We might even like your show. Just this episode was not worth the time it took to listen to it. So here is Chris with his skip.
So if I recall, I was going to say, my skip, I can't remember if the half skip from last week was You're Welcome, but this week it's You're Welcome. Sorry, Chael, and this is the thing. whenever it's a skip from Chael, he's entertaining in the sense I could still listen to it. I won't turn it off. It's just all he talked about was stem cell research, Dana White treating his Meniere's disease with stem cells, Kobe Bryant stem cells, yada, yada, yada. And then the only MMA stuff he talked about, which I enjoyed, he talked about the versatility and polished game of Cowboy. He said, how often do you see kickboxers like him be able to wrestle and grapple successfully? Chael loves Mike Perry's potential since he's at Jackson Wink. The one thing that was mildly distracting but hilarious is Chael kept pronouncing Yair as Yarir. Yarir. Yarir Rodriguez. Yeah. Yarir. Yarir. Yeah, Yarir with amazing knockout. That's how he said it. Then he broke down Cejudo and Dillashaw and talked about what every other podcast mentioned a lot or briefly mentioned, which is the end of the flyweight division, etc., etc. That's what I had for my skip. How about you? Did you have a full skip or half skip?
I'm never surprised when Chael's show ends up being a skip. That show can be real hit or miss depending on what topic he's covering and how many ads he's trying to slam down everyone's throat. So I could definitely see that for that being Chris's skip. My skip is the Joe Rogan Fight Companion episode for UFC Denver, mostly because they didn't discuss the fights at all. I think they talked about fights for maybe 4 minutes of the 3.5 hours that shit happened. They nearly missed the elbow finish. That was about the only thing they paid attention to, was that and the Mike Perry fight. Like, literally didn't even address the fights other than those two. Mostly talked about Chocolate Body and how, well, I'm sure you guys have heard it by now, because that shit was everywhere. But yeah, it was so bad. It was so little about MMA that Brendan had to comment about how they were drunk and were not paying attention on his podcast. So mostly a skip just because they don't talk about MMA nearly at all during that. So next, let's jump into the MMA podcast Chris recommends that you can't miss this week.
So for me, mainly because I haven't listened to Submission Radio in God knows how long. Yeah. So Casper and Dennis talked about they were in New York for a while, kind of like their own little media tour, kind of something or other. They were both on Luke Thomas's Sirius XM show, as well as the MMA Hour with Luke Thomas, and then they ended their New York trip appearing on actor Michael Rappaport's podcast, which they enjoyed. I follow Michael Rappaport, I think, on Instagram. He was great on season 5 of Justified, playing the main villain of the show, which pleasantly surprised me. That's a real thing. He actually did a very good job. I remember too, because I love that show, and I was like, "What the fuck is that, Michael Rappaport?" I'm like, "Oh shit!" Actually, he was a Southerner. It wasn't the best. He had an attempt at a Kentucky accent. It actually wasn't terrible, to be honest. Well, at least considering from the other guys. Anyways, that's not what's important. What's important is Mike Perry was the first guest. Yeah, and he was in the middle of eating surf and turf, I think, which is a very Mike Perry move. Yeah, I just like how he's just he's answering questions, and then you can hear him pause, and then chew his food, and he's like, "Well, then this happened," I just thought that was kind of funny. It's almost like they're like, "All right, well, let's let this guy eat," and then ask the question. Yeah, no, I'm not into people talking with food in their mouth in general, because I don't want to see the food that's in your fucking mouth. So please just continue eating your food and then talk. Anyways, Mike Perry wants to get to the gym quickly to start training jiu-jitsu and just mainly jiu-jitsu is from what I got from it, and just takedown defense. Or not takedown defense, just mainly jiu-jitsu and grappling. More grappling. He thinks of his loss as humbling because he believes he learned more in this fight than he ever has in MMA, whether it's training. He's turning his loss into a learning experience. He cites previous great UFC fighters or legends who have gotten armbarred before. GSP. Who else fucking got armbarred? I can't remember. A bunch. He talks about who his favorite coaches are at Jackson Wink. I think he said Frank the Tank and Julian Williams, I think was the name. Yep. And then speaking of which, Frank the Tank, Coach Winklejohn, I believe was the second guest. Winklejohn? Yeah. It was a little off-putting. I almost thought, wait a second, Coach Wink, we got who else in the line? Mike Perry. All I had written down for Coach Wink was he discussed the whole conversation that Ricky, one of the other coaches, or some shit, posted between him and Frank the Tank. Let's see, the other notes I had, Kevin Lee was on. I enjoyed listening to him. He said it feels good about having an opponent in place again. He said regarding the whole incident after the Conor Khabib fight, he said Russians are emotional and are on a short fuse. He's disappointed that Conor lost mainly because he was confident Conor would win, but he's disappointed mostly because he loses motivation now to grapple with Dylan Dennis. Or was it fight? I think it was grappling. I thought yeah. He thinks Floyd versus Khabib would be terrible for both sports. Yeah. He mentioned he's had 12 fights since he fought Al first, which is what? 4 years ago? 4 years ago? Something like that. 4 years ago. While Al's only had 6, but I remember Al has dealt with injuries. Lee said he is friends with Ali Abdelaziz and trains with him, and he says Ali keeps his shit talk. Yeah, that was weird. And he said Ali keeps my shit talking sharp when I always talk about how I'm gonna beat Khabib. It's like, alright. I was gonna say, lastly, I think I had notes where Dave Meltzer was on. He discussed the past 25 years of the UFC and his favorite fighters and moments. He thinks Donald Cerrone is a Hall of Famer no matter what. And then he said, the last note I had was Dana White was a quiet and nice guy when Dave met him first or something. I mean, yeah, I don't think you're gonna be that brash from the beginning. You can be. I think just looking at past seasons of The Ultimate Fighter, Dana still had that rage, but it was just quiet. It was like an internal rage, like you just see his head turn red. So, yeah, what was your can't miss? Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, Submission Radio 174, it was actually one of my catches. I thought it was a really good episode. Fucking Mike Perry just being goofy as hell. One thing that the reason why I didn't have it as a can't miss is mostly because they pulled the shitty Ariel Helwani card of, oh, now that we had Mike Perry on talking smack about Winklejohn, hi Mike Winklejohn, welcome to the program. It's cheesy and unnecessary, and they're better than that. Doesn't add anything. It just makes you look like you're trying real hard to be controversial and get shitty one-line stories out there. So, I don't know. Other than that, though, it was a funny episode. I really like Kevin Lee on there every time. He's a great guest. Mike Perry says crazy shit, which is always fun to listen to. And I really enjoyed Dave Meltzer. So, definitely worth checking out. My can't miss for this week is Collapsed MMA episode, or the show part 1 and part 2 on UFC 45. Collapsed MMA, if you don't know, is hosted by Jordan Breen and TJ DeSantis. They do a Laps fan style deep dive all up in that ass, where they go through and I think they did about 7 hours on this card. In the part 1, they talked a bit about how it was the last event at the Mohegan Sun and the 10th anniversary event. They talk about Pedro Hizzo versus Rico Rodriguez being the most expensive prelim ever. And then they talk about an article Greg Savage wrote on SureDog that is fucking insane. He wrote it, he starts off the article saying he's writing it drunk directly after the event, having just come from a party where Jeff Sherwood was doing karaoke on top of a table, and the fighters from the event were hanging out with garden tools. Fucking just ridiculous as hell. It's a goofy ass article. And then when they actually dive into the card and start taking a look at all the fights, Breen mentions that he got his hands on some poorly redacted commission documents for the card. So he actually found out how much Pedro Hizzo and Rico got for disclosed pay. They also talk a bit about the super sketchy insurance company that actually insured the event, as well as go through and talk about stuff like Phil Baroni testing out his promos on the UG prior to it. And they did mention also that their next show is going to be on Shine Fights 3. Whatever the fuck Shine Fights 3 is, because I have no idea. But I just really enjoyed that show. It's unlike anything else out there, and I highly, highly recommend giving it a listen. Because there's a lot of weird insider stories and just funny shit that happens. So definitely recommend checking it out. So why don't we go to Chris for his new show that he checked out this week?
Yeah, I always think it's good to listen to what Brain has to say, and I feel like he's one of those guys. He retains a lot of that information, whether it's old school stuff, flashback stuff. He really is good at kind of hyping it up and presenting it. Yeah, so here's a show I think I've seen it before on MMApodcast.com. Hadn't listened to it. MMA Takes with host Brian Peachery. I can't remember what episode he's in. I think he's in pretty far, 100 something. So this guy is a self-proclaimed picks guru. He's bragging about how since like the 226 card July 7th, he's like gone 96-65 in picks. Well, yeah, I mean that is very impressive. I mean it's impressive, but I was gonna say ours is probably not too bad because I know me and you were killing it the past couple months. Yeah. He said he loved the production from the UFC Denver with the themes, the music, the graphics and everything. And however, after that was like the first 5 minutes and 10 minutes. Then the next 10 minutes are him ranting about picks and how he's boasting how he's the best handicapper and he's never going to charge for his picks. I'm like, okay, I get it. It's like, just don't mention that. He says he's concerned for the mental health of Tito and Chuck. He said mostly Tito because Tito kept saying in Brandon Schwab's podcast that I'm a young 34 years old. And I didn't listen to that podcast, so I don't know if you did. Can you attest to that? Was Tito kind of off his rocker? So yeah, he says I'm a young 34 years old. Brian Peacher was talking about is Chuck kind of going crazy with the way he's preparing for this fight. I can't remember specifically what he was talking about. And then the interesting part he took is he started ranking fighters he never understood in the sense of why they were successful at the time. I think he discussed both Ken and Frank, but mostly Frank Shamrock. He discussed the best ever. That was his point. I think the point he made is he thought it was Baroni's excessive presence as far as the yelling and the Guido fucking macho kind of look. He thought that's what transcended his image more or less than his fighting skills. He mentioned Matt Lindland. That name, it rings a bell. So I like the guy. It was a quick podcast. I think I like the guy. He definitely seems pretty insightful as far as like betting and picks. Like, and that's the fucking show is literally called MMA Takes. So like in the last 15 minutes, he kind of ran through his picks. So definitely check it out if you're a guy who likes to bet, who likes to do picks. Fuck yeah, check it out. You know. So that was my new one. So
MMA Takes sounds solid. I'm definitely gonna have to check that one out. I saw it recently start showing up on MMApodcast.com, but didn't know much about it. But I'm definitely excited to give that a listen here shortly. Let's see. For the new show I recommend checking out this week, it's a couple. Both of these shows have kind of existed in different forms over the years, but it's been a long time since they've been around. The first one was The Rewind with Jack Encarnacio. Jack's one of the most underrated figures in the sport as far as I'm concerned. He is the next best thing we have to Pat Wyman now that Pat Wyman's no longer covering and doing MMA content. But for The Rewind with Jack, I really like it. Jack, I believe the last time he did The Rewind was for the marathon charity fundraising event that TJ DeSantis put on for Javier Vasquez when it was announced he had colon cancer. So Jack did an episode of The Rewind with Javier when he was announcing his retirement and going through that. And then Javi actually reached out to Jack and said he wanted to do a follow-up episode with him about it. So Javier ends up coming on and talking about his retirement and his battle against colon cancer. Javi also talks about how he goes through some of the stuff that he's been through over the last, I don't know, however long it's been, year or two. He talks about ending things with Rose last year, which is interesting. And then they also just talks about some of the stuff like his jiu-jitsu system that he's been working on, juicing, supplements, coffee enemas, stuff like that for battling the cancer. And it's just an interesting episode. I don't agree with Javier on a lot of stuff, but I still find him to be an interesting dude, and I think Jack is a fantastic interviewer. So I recommend checking that out. And that's also why I recommend, that's on Between Rounds, by the way. And then I also recommend checking out Spotlight for Invicta 32, which is hosted by Jack Encarnacio as well, along with TJ DeSantis. So Jack and TJ go through and talk about the main event, which is Pam Bam Sorensen versus, God, why am I blanking on her name? I did this yesterday too. God, I'm a big fan of her too. Felicia Spencer. Jesus Christ, I do it every time. It's just fun. They go back and forth and like talk about Felicia and Pam, and then they cut to clips of interviews that Jack did with them, just about their past and their journey in mixed martial arts and that kind of stuff. Again, I mostly just wanted to cover it because Jack's a fantastic interviewer, and it's just fun. You get to kind of learn a bit about the personality of both of them, which both of them have a lot of personality. Hear about Felicia being a teacher, like a math teacher online, and Pam's dropping crazy quotes like, "I've never been to jail, but I feel like I'm missing out." So yeah, I recommend checking it out. Again, it's part of Between Rounds, so if you sign up for their Patreon, I believe it's they have a $5, a $7.50, and a $10 tier per month, but they're putting out, God, at least like 7 to 10 shows a week right now, all with different hosts, and that's not counting like Invicta. TJ did entire coverage for the Invicta card where he sat down with all the fighters. Josh Sherwood and Jeff Gross, I got that backwards. Jeff Sherwood and Josh Gross, Collapsed MMA, which I mentioned earlier, Beatdown with TJ and Dean Thomas. There's a ton of content. TJ and Sherwood have a show, so highly recommend giving all of that a listen. So why don't we go to Chris's well-rounded recommendation from what I remember of it.
I mean, I'm always going to say Bill Burr because I listen to it just about every day. But as far as like new stuff, I don't have anything else, unfortunately, for this week. I need to get back into the habit. I know SoundCloud. I go in there and I'll listen to your mom's. Well, it's better to watch your mom's house than more listen because then you see the video that they're watching.
Yeah, your mom's house is always kind of wild. It's hard not to like that show. They keep it high and tight over there, as you say. They care about all the mommies out there. For my well-rounded show, I actually had Tides of History, which is Patrick Wyman's history podcast. It's all about brewing and brewers and it being women's work. So it's just a really solid episode. Judith is the guest who wrote a book about women brewers and is a USC professor, not a UFC professor, a USC professor. They talk a bit about how soldiers were estimated to drink a gallon of weak beer a day because back then, of course, you couldn't actually drink, like water wasn't safe during that time, like during the Black Plague and stuff. So people would just drink beer for hydration. Well, I mean, they drink some beer for hydration. They drink different beer for getting hammered. They talk about how brewing became man's work after the Black Plague due to a couple different factors, which was really interesting. I hadn't heard a discussion on that before, but I really enjoyed it. They also talk a bit about how weird monetization was back then, and since everything kind of was on an exchange and a credit program. So it's just interesting to hear them break that down. Pat is a goddamn gem, and we definitely could use more Pat Wyman in the world, so I recommend checking that one out for sure. And then the other well-rounded show I had was Zane's World, Friendly Cops with Dino Archie. Zane Lamprey is the host of a drinking show called Four Sheets on the Brewdog Network. Also hosted Three Sheets back on Mark Cuban's network back in the day, and did Drinking Made Easy and Chug. He's hosted a lot of drinking shows, but he had Dino Archie on. Dino is a stand-up comic, and funnily enough, I posted about how I really like this episode on Instagram on, I think it was Wednesday, And then I actually get a DM from Dino, who's like, "Oh, thanks, man. If you're ever in the if we're ever in the same place, we gotta get a beer." And I told him whenever he's down in San Diego, hit me up for sure. Turns out that same night he was playing he was doing a set down at El Prez in PB/OB area on Mission. So I actually drove down there and went and saw his show and met the dude. Super funny guy. I highly recommend checking out Dino Archie if you ever in the area. But yeah, it's a really funny episode. Dino's hilarious. He tells some crazy stories about Canadian cops. And just a funny dude. So definitely recommend giving that a listen. So why don't we go to Chris for any other honorable mentions he wanted to shout out?
Real quickly, let me backpedal here and see. Protect Your Neck, I mentioned. Dan Thomas, good as always. I didn't have too many real notes on here. I was kind of passively listening while I was driving to and from work today. I kind of tried to cram it in. But it was good. And that's all I really got.
Nice. Yeah, Protect Your Neck I actually didn't get to. So I'm listening to this, or I'm recording this, about 5-6 hours before the fight start. So I'm actually probably going to go listen to Protect Your Neck after this, after I get the editing done, because I really like Dan Tom, and it sounds like a good episode, so I'm definitely going to check that out. My honorable mentions, I'll throw them out here real quick. I'm not going to go over them in depth. Show Money episode 24 was really good. To show more on the legal side of things in MMA. John Nash, Jason, I can never remember his last name. I think he's Dilettante on Twitter. And Paul Gift are the hosts of that. It's a real interesting show. It's way over my head. But this episode was all about the antitrust case that's going on with the UFC. And how they have an upcoming court date on December 14th, and how they see that might turn out. They also talk a bit about the One Championship financials and how ridiculous they are. So really interesting if you're into the more, I don't know, legal side of things, because I believe Jason's a lawyer and John Nash just pretends to be. So to take an old bit from God, who does that all the time? Is that Eugene? Anyway, one of the Bloody Elbow guys. Good episode. I recommend it. Wonder Twins Power Podcast, episode 3, which is the show hosted by Ian Kidd and Steffi Haynes. They talk about the bad Ches Skelly stoppage from the Darce choke he was put in. And then they have Oliver Barley on, who is studying for his PhD, and he comes on to talk extreme weight cutting, which is really interesting since, of course, Ian Kidd works with George Lockhart with that whole team in weight cutting. So interesting for him to kind of talk about the science behind it and go back and forth with the dude who's coming off a lot of study about it. And then they also talk a bit about hydration testing and why it doesn't really work, because it's not really testing hydration. It's just testing different like fluid levels in the body, which doesn't necessarily equate to hydration. So interesting for sure. UFC Unfiltered episode 246 was very good. It was Jamie English subbing in for Jim Norton, which kind of makes that show better. I'm not gonna lie. But Macy Barber calls in to talk about her win, she's a lot of fun. She also talks about wanting the Dern fight, which, I don't know, that's a big step up in competition, but I think it'd be fun as hell. Forrest Griffin calls in to talk about the UFC Performance Institute and make fun of Matt Serra a whole bunch, joking about how they probably weigh the same right now and stuff like that. And then Paul Felder calls in to talk about working the booth at UFC Denver and his upcoming fight against James Vick. Just a very good episode of that show, so recommend that for sure. Heavy Hands episode 237. They had a really good in-depth discussion on both Mike Perry versus Cowboy Cerrone and on the main event Yair versus TKZ. I thought it was an interesting discussion. They talk about the thing they go back to a lot, which is the definition of fluky. Like, did Yair mean to throw the elbow and land the elbow? Yes. If he had 1,000 more rounds with the zombie, would he land that elbow and put him out like that again? Probably not. So just an interesting discussion on that, which I think is warranted, since people, especially on Twitter, will get way too wound up in that kind of stuff. But it's a fun discussion. I liked it. And then they also talk about Magny versus Ponzinibbio and Lamas versus Elkins. So should be fun. And then MMA Roadshow episode 190. John Morgan and Cold Coffee recorded that episode at Cold Coffee's house. It's a Ballast Point home game, which I'm always a fan of. They talk about the NSAC hearings that just happened, where Cody McKenzie no-showed it, and all the chaos that came out of those. They also have an interview with Misha Tate about signing on as the one VP, except she eats during the entire interview, so I wasn't the biggest fan of that, although I'm sure some creeps out there will be. And then they talk a bit about Red Dead, and John Morgan complains that he likes Red Dead, but he wishes he had a way to have one hand free so he could drink while riding his horse. And then I noticed on Twitter somebody sent him a thing being like, bro, try holding down the touchpad and enjoy yourself some frosty beverages. And he about lost his damn mind. So on that note, I am going to wrap this here, and we are going to transition into our picks for this card that's coming up in a couple hours. And I'm actually going to go drink some beer and play some Red Dead in the meantime. So, again, apologies for the technical difficulties this week, but next week it will be back to normal. Promise we will not have the recording fuck up like we did this week. And we do have a solution here coming shortly. So, without further ado, let's take a break, and then we'll be back with our picks for UFC Fight Night, not Sao Paulo, Argentina. What the fuck city is that in? Buenos Aires. There we go. Oh, and Chris is actually on for that part, I should mention. Like, our audio's fine for the second half, so, again, apologies, but won't happen again.
I would love to tell you all what went down tonight, but then I would have to kill you. And I'm way too pissed or drunk for those uninitiated to hunt you all down. So with a few of the names changed to protect the innocent, not really, here's the rundown from the UFC Eve in Connecticut. Once upon a time, there was this bar called Lucky's Lounge, and the service was too slow, so the party moved to the Dubliner pub around the corner. In this bar full of raving lunatics was a performer named Bruce Jacques, or something close to that, who was playing Loretta Hunt's favorite Bon Jovi tunes.
All right, we are back for the preview of UFC Fight Night 140, Magny versus Ponzinibbio, also known as Fight Night Buenos Aires in Argentina.
Also known as Fight Night Argentina.
Yep.
There's
That's
like fucking 14 names for these things. Also, wait till we get to the ESPN era where they're going to start a whole new naming system where it's going to be it's going to be Fight Night ESPN. No, it's
Plus
gonna be
one.
Fight Night 125 ESPN 2 and shit like that. Where you're like, oh my god, yeah, it's gonna get.
Or
bad.
they're gonna make a math joke. ESPN plus 1, ESPN plus 2, ESPN plus 3.
Would not surprise me.
No.
Are you still drinking on the same thing?
Yeah. Cause I don't have any more booze. I'd finished off some wine that I had before I started.
Ooh,
the
nice.
podcast.
What kind of wine?
It was a J. Lore Cabernet Sauvignon.
Ooh, love me some Cab Savs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was pretty fucking good.
I'm
pretty sure it's Cab.
Nice. I'm actually finishing off some that weird cider that I poured into that cinnamon beer because it was too goddamn cinnamon, and now I'm switching over to Anchor Steam because I got that. I also have some Mike Hess Solace over here.
If I were to guess which Anchor Steam you have, is it the Christmas one?
No, of course it's just Anchor Steam, their regular Anchor Steam.
I was only guessing that because I believe it's in season now. The Christmas beer.
I super don't prefer it to regular Anchor Steam. I don't mind it at all. I think it's good. No, it's just not my go-to. Yeah. And also, this was like a $2 tall can, so I was like, I will take a $2 tall can of Anchor Steam.
Oh yeah. So, starting off tomorrow night's fight, as we're recording this.
Oh, also, we should give a
feather-
quick disclaimer. I don't know how much tape study you've done for this. I've done zero tape study for this card.
Zero.
I was going to do tape study for this card. Instead, I went to see that dude who was on Zane Lamprey's show do comedy, and I watched Invicta tonight. So, I have done literally zero tape study. So
let's get the zero tape study card rolling. We got a featherweight bout between England's Nad Smiler Narimani, who has a professional record of 11-2, going off against which I would assume is a lazy attempt at a UFC creative fighter, in that this guy's fucking name is Anderson dos Santos.
It does sound like somebody you fight in the EA UFC career mode.
Yeah, like Anderson Aldo, the meme that once was a while back. What's his name? Barinja? I'm not gonna butcher his name.
I was just trying to figure that out.
Something like a ninja? I don't know. He has a fucking
Bear
bandana
Ninja.
face. Bear Ninja. Sure. Yeah. Bear Ninja. He's a Bear Ninja. Alright. Record of 20-6. The English guy, Nad Smiler, who is smiling in his photo, I would hope. 31 years old, a featherweight, fighting out of Bristol, England. His foundation style is boxing, grappling, and wrestling. Wrestling is rare for an Englishman. Last time we saw him, if I did, no disrespect, good sir, he had a unanimous decision victory over Khalid Taha.
Oh, yeah.
Last
I
July
remember that
22nd.
card.
And before
I think
that,
I
he
saw him
fought
fight
fellow
Patty. He got the win over Patty
Yeah.
Pimblett.
fellow Englishman Paddy Pimblett in Cage Warriors 82, which is a European promotion based in Great Britain or the United Kingdom.
That was a
whatever
huge
the fuck you
win.
wanna call it. Yeah, I mean that's probably the reason why he got the call up to the UFC.
100%.
So his opponent, the Brazilian Anderson dos Santos.
Also, the nickname Smiler is underrated.
It's actually not that bad because you think it'd be like Smiley or Smiles, but
Right.
Smiler.
Smiler
Like,
has a weird,
he's
evil
you're
connotation
fucking
to it.
good. You already know there's some guy that called you're a fucking good smile, aren't you? And
Right.
your fucking smart mouth. You
That
know,
or
some
he-
shit like that.
that or
Like
he
Dan
Glas-
Hardy.
that or he-
Yeah.
Yeah. That or Glasgow or what's that shit called? Glasgow.
That's in Scotland when you fucking
I
cut
know.
someone cheeks. Like
You
ear
act
to
like
ear, some shit
England
like
and
that, or-
Scotland are far apart, dog. He could have gone to Scotland, smiled a motherfucker, and came back.
yeah. Looking like the fucking Joker on us or whatever the fuck. Anyways, last time we saw Anderson dos Santos Aldo Jr., this is his UFC debut. Last time we saw Anderson dos Santos Aldo Jr., he won a unanimous decision victory over Alejandro Caetano at Thunder Fight 16.
That's a great name for a promotion, Thunder Fight.
November. What the Wait, he just
that
fought
this
2
month?
weeks ago? He just fought 2 weeks ago?
Less than that.
What?
13 days ago. So yeah, exactly 2 weeks
Oh.
from when this fight is.
Wow.
That either means he's super
wow.
in shape and ready to go, or it means that he should not be fighting.
You know what that means? I'm picking the Englishman because I don't trust anyone who goes to decision because you probably took some damage.
Oh shit, he
I
went
would
to
imagine.
decision? Yeah, no, okay.
Yeah.
That you can't go to That's insane.
Yeah.
You can't go to
My order-
decision and then fight
yeah.
2 weeks later.
My order of the Pinky fucking Blinders. I'm going with Nad Narimani. By decision. Sorry, Anderson dos Santos Aldo Jr. Oh, what are the odds, good sir, if there are odds in this fight?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go the same way. I'm gonna go on Nad. I'm going Nad's gonna decision the shit out of it.
The fucking smaller.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see. Odds for this one are definitely don't need the Bellator 209 odds. That
What's
fight that
that?
happened 3 weeks ago. Nad Narimani is a minus 345 favorite to a oh wait, no, sorry, that's the site we're not using. Nad Narimani is a minus 380 favorite to a plus 290.
That sounds about right. So,
Anderson.
moving on. Next up, we have... Whoa. Oh, no. Okay, a lightweight bout between American Devin Powell, who has a professional record of 9-3 and is 30 years old, is going up against... Is this Peru? Or Panama?
Oh, no, it's Jesus, bruh. I think it's from Israel.
No. I'm like, I always look at like the country's flag just to see where it is.
I was kidding.
I know. But it is Jesus. It's Jesus Pinedo. It is Peru. I was right. Wow, good guess. Peruvian Jesus Pinedo El Mudo. Mudo? Did he mean mundo, like the world? He is the world. I don't know. But again, I don't know what mudo is, and I don't want to know. I don't care. He's 6 feet tall. He's only 22. Wow. His head coach. It says is a pit bull. Just kidding. That's his nickname because that's everyone's nickname in MMA, right? If you're a lightweight or under, you're a fucking pit bull.
Yeah.
So,
oh no, everyone is named Pitbull. Mute. The Mute. Actually, I love that nickname. I'm going with Jesus.
That's actually pretty
just because his nickname.
I'm going
is
with
the
him based
Mute.
on his nickname. That's it. I'm sorry. I'll just mention real quick. Devin Powell. Last time we saw him
Holy
was
shit! He was
swear to
born
God,
in '96.
Yeah, he's a youngin. Last time we saw Devin Powell, he won via body kicks over Alvaro Herrera. And
Oh
UFC
shit!
on
That was
Fox
the fight
30.
he was getting his ass kicked until he landed those two nasty liver shots.
Yeah, because he lost through the split decision to Daryl Horcher before that, and Drakkar Close he lost the decision to. And then Jesus, the Mute, which if he has a post-fight interview, please don't say anything. This is his UFC
Yeah, I
debut.
just want him to walk up and nod a lot.
Yeah, or just grunt. Yeah.
No, I don't want him grunting. This isn't some weird dude's fantasy about an Invicta card.
Oh, yeah. Touche. So, yeah, I'm going with the Mute. Going to the Mute. No reason why. It's a hunch.
I just fucking love that dude. That's one of the best nicknames in MMA. The Mute. I love it. I feel like the use of mute as a disability is underrated.
It is.
That's a weird way to phrase that, but
It is a weird way too, but I'm just gonna say it is just to distract from that you said that. Just kidding.
So
it doesn't matter.
What method do you have in this? Because there's no way this goes to a decision, right?
I got him
these
by.
both just have finishes.
I got him by knockout. TKO. Fuck it, just to finish. Yeah. What do you got?
I might
What
go
do you think?
decision actually.
Decision.
Just because the step up in competition, a lot of times you see dudes drop off a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. What round do you have him by knockout?
I say round 3. I think it's gonna be a scrappy bout.
Third. I'm putting him as the Mute on our doc.
That works.
I enjoy it.
So, what are the odds once you get a chance to...
Oh, good call. I should just give you the odds so that when I'm typing... Here, let me just send you this fucking link.
Okay, that
so that way
works.
when I'm typing, you can just read these off. Because I feel like this is the problem we have every show. Is that I'm typing in what the results or whatever, and you are waiting for the odds.
It's all good.
Here. Boom.
Let's see here.
I guess I can just say them while you're doing that. The odds on this one, Jesus, a.k.a. the Mute, is... we're going by Bovada, so he is a minus 225 favorite to a plus 175 Devin Powell.
You said 225 favorite to a minus... No.
Minus 225 to a plus 175 Devin Powell.
Okay.
I feel like I haven't seen any footage at all. Sorry about that. That was me putting the pipe down. I haven't seen any footage at all of Jesus, but if he's as holy as they say, he should have the holes in his game sewn shut.
Yeah, especially in his hands and feet.
And mouth.
Too
They
late.
don't call him the Mute for nothing, bro. Okay,
Yeah,
that was
'cause you
I'm
can't
done
talk when
with
you're
all
fucking-
these.
Yeah,
I'm done with
never
all
mind.
these dumb jokes I'm
Yep.
making.
Anyways, moving on. Next up, we have a welterweight bout against Mexican fighter Hector Aldana, going up against, he's Argentinian, so he's probably Italian, Laureano Staropoli, Pepe. Let's see, Hector Aldana, last time we saw him, Oh, yeah. He had a pretty competitive fight up until the end of the second round against Keenan Song, whom he lost to via punches. That was actually a fun fight. I remember Aldana has decent boxing.
I vaguely
he's
remember
a
that
Mexican
fight.
fighter. Before that, he got choked up by Enrique Marin. Oh, on the Ultimate Fighter Latin America Season 2. Which is ironic because Marin is European because he's from Spain, but who gives a fuck? He speaks Spanish. Anyways, Laureano Staropoli.
That is funny. The Latin America
that is
includes
very
Spain
ironic.
somehow.
Yeah, that's fucking comedy.
Well, you guys fucked everybody down in Latin America, so that counts, right?
Yeah, that is true. Kind of, but not really. Anyways, the Argentinian Italian guy, this is his UFC debut. Okay. According to his rap sheet here, I didn't see him fight, neither did you, unless you watched Combate Cotas MMA.
Nope.
He defeated
Never
Carlos
even heard
Alberto
of it.
Bazan Rojas via punches at 3 minutes of the second round.
Dog, it's pretty
He
cool. He got
also
a win back in the NBA 2K Unlimited series. I didn't know he was a champion of that game, but it's pretty tight.
Or Punisher's fight.
Oh, dog, I didn't know he was in the Punisher.
Hey, pinche Punisher. Yeah, he was there. Yeah, I don't really know how to gauge this guy, Staropoli. More or less, I'm just gonna lean towards Aldana because I've seen his stand-up and his boxing's pretty crisp.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's from Mexicali. Cool, Baja. I gotta go with the local guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go that way as well. Probably leaning decision.
Yeah, I like decision. And oh yeah, let me look at the odds because I have them right in front of me as you type that. The odds for this. Do you usually go by 5, like just all the reds?
No, not 5 dimes. I go by Bovada because that's like. I used to go 5 dimes, and then there was that sketchy shit where the owner of 5 dimes was found dead, and his wife. There's some shady stories about, and the mob and stuff. So I would not recommend putting money in 5 dimes. I would recommend. Well, I've gone with Bovada because they're always on the up and up, at least as far as how I've dealt with them, and I believe they're formerly Bodog.
Yeah, I believe that is true.
So, yeah.
So, Bovada, brought to you by Bovada. Hector Aldana is the favorite
Doug
at
Stanhope
-120.
style, though, not like actually.
Yeah. Excuse me, Doug Stanhope presents Bovada.
Yeah,
presents
Papa Vodka
the
presents
odds.
Doug Stanhope presents Bovada presents.
Brought to you by Bovada.
Yeah.
The best place, according to Papa Vodka presents Doug Stanhope presents, to bet. Hector
Except
Aldana
it's
is
not
a minus.
because I think they actually have a betting fucking sponsor.
You're
Bet
probably
DSI. I think it's Bet DSI.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hector Aldana is the slight favorite at -145 over Staropoli at +115. So there's that. Let's see. Next up we have...
sounds about... I mean, that's got to be about even because what we have seen of Aldana has been... It's existed. It hasn't been outstanding. And then this new dude is coming out of here from a weird country that isn't known for MMA, doing pretty well in regional scenes. So there's a lot of that on this card, and it's going to make a lot of these picks kind of tough.
So next up is a featherweight bout between American and a apparent Oscar De La Hoya fan. Austin Golden Boy Arnett is the record of 15-5.
Oh.
27 years old.
Thought we were booing Golden Boy. I don't want to see statues fight.
So is Austin Arnett going to come out in fishnets and all coked up? Unless he's John Jones.
Nah,
Maybe.
dog. He's going to come out in fucking Iceman shorts, and Humberto Bandone is going to dye
And
his
bleached
hair
hair.
blonde.
Yeah. Shaved, buzz cut,
100%.
bleached hair.
He's
Umberto
going to come out with this
Bandone.
shirt. He's going to come out with this shirt that says, I fucked your mom, or whatever the fuck. What the fuck was the Tito shirt? I wish I could remember.
I can't remember either.
Oh, the stupid Ken Shamrock
Maybe a shirt
one?
that says my wife makes money with her mouth.
No,
I don't know.
Wow. They could both probably own that shirt. I can't remember the fucking Tito. Anyway, he's gonna come out and do the Gravedigger at the end of the fight. How about that?
Yeah. Unless he's like Aldo and he's going to fuck the Gravedigger in the ass. Anyways, who is he fighting? He's fighting Humberto Bandone, the Peruvian, who has a record of 14-5.
Is it Tito's my bitch? Wait, did Ken wear the shirt and it said Tito's my bitch?
I think it was.
Is that
Ken.
how that went? Or I thought it was Tito that wore the shirt that said Ken is my bitch.
Fuck, now I'm
Sounds
confused.
not right.
We're gonna have to look
anyway.
into it. Eddie Bravo.
Not important. Yeah.
It's not important, but we will look into it. Austin Arnett. Last time we saw him fight in the UFC, this is his third UFC fight. Both UFC fights he's lost. The first fight he got lost to a body shot to
Metzger is his bitch. Now I remember.
Okay.
That he beat Guy Metzger and put on a shirt that said Guy Metzger is my bitch.
Okay. And then Arnett lost to Hakeem Dawodu at UFC on Fox 30 last July. Yep. Humberto Bandone.
He's had a tough run.
Yeah, those are tough two first fights. Bandone won his first fight UFC debut in August of 2017 with a head kick victory over Martin Bravo. 26 seconds. That's all it took. Very impressive. Unfortunately, he's had 2 canceled bouts after that. Wow, he actually was supposed to fight Alexander Volkanovski. Holy shit. Wonder how that would have gone.
That would have been a rough out for a second fight.
Yeah. Anyways, his most recent fight, he lost in impressive fashion in 39 seconds to Gabriel Mowgli Benitez, who looked as good as he ever has, the Mexican fighter.
He's one of those dudes who I can never gauge what Mowgli's going to show up.
Basically, Mowgli was like, hey, I know how to grapple now. Let me slam you on the fucking ground and then ground and pound you the fuck out.
Yeah, kind of like, is it Augusto Mendez is the other dude that's
that was like one of those fights I was like, holy shit. Like, when I saw it. Yeah. Are you saying, wait, who's like Augusto Mendez?
Is it Augusto Mendez is the other, is he the scrappy BJJ dude that I can never count on?
Yeah. He's a bantamweight. I remember because Cody Garbrandt knocked him the fuck out.
Exactly. But like sometimes he'll hang in there and be scrappy, but sometimes he just doesn't show up.
Yeah. Shout out to Mowgli, dude. I every time we have a Latin American card, it's always the dudes from Tough Latin America. And shouts out again to Yair El Pantar Rodriguez, the winner of Tough Latin America season 1.
Those seasons get way better with age. Like as time passes, you look back like, damn, there were some great fights.
I feel like people need to kind of, and I'm not saying people don't watch the Latin America season, but they're very good for the most part. The first one was excellent, at least. Yeah, I remember. I think the second one or third one was with Forrest Griffin, and it was funny because they all love Forrest because he was already retired. So they're like, Coach, you know, you're a legend, and he would just like help cook fucking food for them. I remember that was a pretty funny season. I can't remember.
Yeah, those series were super underrated.
Yeah, as long as it's not, was it Tough China, as W would say. I think that was the rough one.
I think it was rough, China, but right? I think there was a worse one than that. Maybe not. No, Tough China 2 was the bad one. Because I think there was two of those.
Tough China 2. Was it Kung Lee was the guy in Tough China? I don't know. I don't want to talk about Tough China because that gave me a headache. It was so disorganized. Anyway, what's my pick for the fight? Well, I have him as my flex, so I'm going to go with Austin Arnett in a... I'm going to decision. Because Bandone got fucked up last fight, and so did Arnett, so I can't think that puts him on even ground. Well, he lost the decision to Dawodu, so I guess that's where it shows me there, where I'm kind of leaning.
Yeah.
Not overly really confident, because I know Bandone has good striking, from what I saw. From memory, short-term memory.
Yeah.
I mean, he did fucking head kick a dude into oblivion, Martin Bravo, in 26 seconds. So.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me to pick. I'm gonna go. God, it's really one has had a much stronger schedule. The other has looked more impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean Bandone by decision as well. Actually, not by decision. What am I? I'm not gonna go by decision. I'm gonna go by knockout, probably in the second. Just because I think, I like Austin Arnett, and I think he's underrated. I just also think Bandone has been pretty dynamic, and the way Tony Martin looked in his last fight, it's hard to lean against that. A dude who looking
So
semi-competitive against it.
If you're curious about the odds, the fact that you picked Bandonnet bodes well for you because Humberto Bandonnet is currently a minus 275 favorite.
Wow, that seems too wide.
I think so. But it bodes well for you if it works out, if it pans out.
True.
Next up, we
let's
have...
hold up right there. Hold up right there.
Excuse me.
Let me disconnect and call you back because I'm getting hella delay.
Sounds good.
All right. Yo.
Yo.
Way better.
Cool.
Did you stop your recording?
No.
Good. That means I don't have to edit that. Makes that much easier. Cool. We can roll back in. Yeah, you were just cutting out, and I could hear the delay getting worse and worse. So I just wanted to reconnect.
No worries. All right.
Cool. So yeah, go ahead and go to
Cool.
Pandoja.
Yeah. So next up, we have one of the last remaining flyweight fights you will ever see, at least in the UFC. Flyweight
Last 5,
veteran.
I think.
Yeah. Alexandre Pantoja, the cannibal, who we've seen in The Ultimate Fighter, and you've seen him at Novo União, or whatever the fuck that gym's called in Brazil, where Aldo trains at, and a bunch of other good
Novo
Brazilian fighters.
União.
I know I said that wrong. Didn't mean any disrespect, but you know what I'm talking
you were
about.
close.
Going up against a Japanese fighter, Uka Sasaki, in how the fuck do I make 125 category, who's 5 fucking
Good news,
10.
he won't have to for that much longer.
That's true. Good for his health.
Yeah,
So,
seriously.
Alexandre Pantoja, last time we saw this dude, well, I shouldn't be surprised saying he's only 5'5". They're fucking cutting to 125. Anyways, last time we saw Pantoja, he won a unanimous decision victory over Brandon Moreno, the baby assassin, who was on a roll for a while, 125. But, like I mentioned before, or like I should say Dan Tom? See, I get my podcast confused now. There's a podcast talking about how every person keeps fucking beating each other in that division, and it's a huge clusterfuck, right?
I think
Because then
that
it
sounds
says-
like Dan Tom.
Because then Pantoja also lost to this. He beat Moreno. Before that, he lost to Dustin Ortiz, and it gets confusing. Uka Sasaki. Last time we saw him, he won versus Hanel Lauza via rear naked choke. 4 minutes of round number 2 last June. Before that, he was scheduled but canceled, unfortunately. He was supposed to fight scrappy flyweight Magomed Bibulatov. That didn't happen, unfortunately. And before that, he got submitted by Juste Formiga, who I would have said is looking at a title shot, but probably not anymore. So, this is, I remember Pantoja's very good with his outside and inside kicks. That's kind of what he likes to do to gauge and keep distance. And he has like a pretty quick jab. Sasaki, I remember, was a guy with his very long limbs and reach, loves to kind of get on people's backs and just take him to the ground. He uses like his hips and drives him to the ground. I think Pantoja was Aldo's BJJ coach. Was that the same guy? I know we mentioned this like 10 times now.
I think you're right. Actually, now that you mention that, yeah, I think you are right with that. Or at least since he's out of that gym, he was like one of the jiu-jitsu instructors.
So, like,
Maybe
I'm
not
trying
the
to
main
see.
one.
I can't imagine this not going to the ground because that's Sasaki's style, unless he doesn't want to test Pantoja's BJJ. So I
And he
could see
has
Sasaki.
terrible takedown defense.
Your Sasaki does, right? Because I remember
Yeah.
a smaller guy.
He's
submitted
too
him.
long.
Who was it? Oh, it's Formiga. Yeah. Yeah. I I like Pantoja in this. He's quick. He can get into the inside.
Although
He's generally
Sasaki did go to decision against Wilson Hayes.
This is why I hate MMA math at 125, dude. I really
real.
feel like I could just flip a fucking coin at this point.
I mean, this is one of those fights that
You know
I'm
what?
not very.
I'm going Pantoja.
I could flip a coin for every Sasaki fight because of how weird he is frame wise.
I'm going Pantoja, and I think this is going decision.
Yeah.
That's my pick. What about you? What do you think? This
you
is
know
a
what?
weird fight.
Man, I think I'm gonna have to pick the same thing.
It sucks to close in this division because I almost want to say this is fucking meaningless. Like we're.
Well, it is. It's 100% meaningless. Just like TJ and Cejudo fighting 125 is meaningless.
Fuck.
There's no reason for that fight to happen in 25 when Cejudo can barely make 125. That's like it's like why would it, like it's like asking why a third Conor and Nate trilogy would be at 155. Like what the fuck is the point? Why are we just making dudes cut weight for no reason? Other than the fact that Nate can weigh 250 pounds and be a sumo wrestler if he doesn't fight at 155.
You know, Skip. He just he sumoed him.
Skip, he sumoed him. Skip.
Or no, Shannon. See, I'm talking like Skip. Yeah, Shannon. He sumoed him.
No,
he sumoed the guy.
I talk like Skip to Skip all the time. I don't know if you picked up on that yet, because it's the more fun of the two impressions.
Like Shannon to Shannon or Shannon to Skip. Because clearly,
oh, you're right. I talk about Shannon. I talk as Shannon to Shannon, but call Shannon Skip.
Yeah, I know. You're like, all right, Skip. You're wrong about that, Skip. Because I'm Skip.
Exactly, Skip.
So, okay, you want to hear the odds on this? Well,
I would assume Sasaki's a big favorite.
Yeah. Since I'm reading these, let's have you do the guessing game. It makes it fun now too.
I would assume he's like I don't know, at least minus 140 to 160 range.
You said Sasaki's the favorite?
Yeah.
Well, according to Bovada, Pantoja is the minus 340 favorite. Yeah. Wow.
I figured because of Sasaki's size and because, yeah, I mean, that seems like way too wide the other direction. I could see why, I guess, but nothing I've seen out of Pantoja has made me that confident in any of this. You know what? It's honestly probably Sasaki's takedown defense that 100% drives that. Because he just hasn't shown that shit.
Yeah. Well,
and he gets like weird and scrambly on the ground, but in panicky ways sometimes. But do you know if he's still at Alpha Male? It didn't look like it according to Sasaki. Wasn't he at Alpha Male?
I have no clue, to be honest. Let me see.
I thought Oka Sasaki was training at it didn't say so on Tapology. I might be mixing him up with somebody else.
Yeah, it doesn't say shit. It says.
Also, Alpha Male is one of those gyms that, like, if people are in LA, or in California, they
Northern California, yeah, like in the Bay.
No, but I mean, like, if you're a fighter under 170 pounds in California, you probably swing by Alpha Male and get some rounds in.
This next fight is interesting considering it is a former lightweight who's been at welterweight now for a fight. Michel Praceres, a.k.a. Brazilian Matt Serra, going up against Polish fighter Bartosz Fabinski, and I probably said that wrong.
Michel Praceres!
Yeah. Jimmy, I've gained weight.
Jimmy, no, I'm 190 pounds. That was one of the best parts about Unfiltered this week, was Matt Serra explaining to Forrest Griffin that actually they don't weigh the same.
That's fucking great.
Matt Serra's like, look, I got abs. Come on.
That's
English dude. I forget dude's
Jamie English.
Jamie, come on, Jamie English. Look at these abs.
That's fucking great. Michel Praceres, last time we saw him, had a welterweight debut and decision.
What do you mean? Oh, right, he moved up.
Yeah, because he kept missing weight. He decisioned to Zach Cummings.
Looked very good against Zach Cummings.
Yep. Bartosz Fabinski is a big motherfucker. He's 6 foot and almost kind of looks like he could be a small middleweight. I don't know, but then again,
has a win over one of the dudes I'm least impressed with in the entire division.
Yeah, Emil Mack. Yeah.
I mean, if you can't stop a takedown, bruh.
Yeah, this is like I'm kind of leaning towards Braceras because he hits really hard too, but I can't really remember seeing Fabinski fight, and he looks like a big motherfucker.
Well, that's because before Mech, he didn't fight until back in 2015.
Oh God.
Yeah. So
He beat Hector
long
Urbina,
time
who
off.
was an NCAA All-American college wrestler at Ohio State, right? Was that him?
Yeah, but that was what, 4 years ago almost? That was
Yeah,
4 years ago when this card happens almost.
Yeah. You know what? I have Braceras in fantasy.
3.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I think he's gonna go Matt Serra. He's gonna clip this dude and knock him out.
Yeah. What round?
Round 2. He'll just shoot like crazy in the first round, and the guy will kind of get tired. He's like, "This tiny dude's trying to take me down. This is annoying." And then,
Yeah, I think this is probably gonna go to decision because of that. Because I think he's gonna be
that's a good
sprawling
call.
enough.
Yeah.
And I would not be surprised. The thing is if Fabinski blows enough takedowns and gets stuck on bottom in position for Braceras to set up any kind of front headlock choke, I think could be in trouble, especially with 2 north-south choke wins in his last 4. But it kind of just depends on Fabinski's gas tank. But yeah, I'm going decision.
And the odds, if you're curious, are -140 in favor of Michel Braceras.
Yeah. Wow. Why? I feel like Pantoja line and that line should be flipped.
Yeah.
100%.
So
This next fight, I don't feel good about.
is this Polyana Marijuana or no? I can't remember. I remember she changed her-
Botelho? Yeah, Polyana Marijuana.
It is, yeah.
She changed her
Alright.
name.
Yeah, it's still marijuana.
You know why
to
she
me.
changed her name? Isn't she the one that got caught for dealing weed? Or her boyfriend did?
I think so. Now
Like,
her
I
name
think
is
her
that her
boyfriend
actual
literally-
name? Because her actual name is just literally Polyana Bottle. Bateo. Yeah, never mind.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
just like
gotcha.
literally, yeah. She is 7-1. Oh yeah, I don't want to say anyone's record. Sorry, I guess I lost track. 29 years old, 5'8". The Brazilian is going up against American fighter Cynthia Calvillo, who was on a roll for a bit.
No, you know what? It wasn't Polyana Marijuana.
It's
It was
not.
the person Polyana Marijuana fought that got caught for hella drugs.
Oh,
I think,
yeah.
right?
No, yeah, that's what made it ironic.
No, it wasn't that either.
No, I don't know.
Maybe they were just on the same card next to each other. Anyway, not important. Polyana Marijuana is a national treasure as far as I'm
She's
concerned.
going up against
even
American.
though she's not from our nation.
Yeah, she's going up against American fighter Cynthia Calvillo,
Who looked like she was gonna die this week. Did you see that video?
No, but I heard she like fell off the scale or almost did.
Okay, Chris. Let's go ahead and take a look at this video. Here, I'm gonna send this to you over Skype.
So yeah, I'll keep talking as you send
Keep
this to me,
talking,
and I'll
but
check
you're-
it out. Cynthia
It's gonna
Calvillo.
have to affect your pick.
Yeah, it will. I know she missed weight. She's at Team Alpha Male. She's returning from a pretty lengthy suspension, about a year almost. It looks like for weed, right? Isn't that makes it even more
Yep.
fun coincidence? This is a really fun coincidence.
Shout
Very
out to the Nevada State Athletic Commission,
Yeah.
who was the dicks. I think it was Nevada. Tell me, go ahead and take a look at this, and tell me how this video looks. Just go ahead and walk us through it. It's about 40 seconds. Just go ahead and watch Cynthia Calvillo weigh in with the Hoop of Shame, I believe this is called. And let me know your thoughts as that happens.
Let's see. I gotta make sure
Also-
this is muted.
Yeah, it should be noted she is cleared to fight.
Actually, wait. Hold on. It should be noted. What? Sorry, you cut. I actually fucking muted my
No,
shit.
it's good. It's good that you didn't hear me.
Okay, here I muted the YouTube video. Okay, I'm watching this now. Very low energy. Dude, that's a big step onto that scale. Now that I think about it. Dude, she's fucking shaking. Holy shit. Dude, she's about to fall. Dude, this is terrible.
Yeah. Before that video starts, they also like carried her out onto the stage, basically.
Oh man, that's rough.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, at the ceremonial weigh-in, she didn't look that as like she looked better.
Yeah.
But it's pretty bad, right? Because I had her going into this fight. And now I don't know if I can take her in this fight.
No, I can't. I gotta go with Polyana. I mean,
Polyana does have weed in her, or used to have weed in her name. So that automatically makes her.
Well, we've got weed in our hearts.
And in my body currently. I'm a little high. I smoked weed during this show. I don't know if you guys noticed. I'm in California. Suck a dick. Let's see. No, she does have recent wins, though. So, Polyana has recent wins over Pearl Gonzalez, which in retrospect is starting to look really good because Pearl Gonzalez is doing very well in Invicta and looking real scrappy. And then Siri Kondo is a good win, although it doesn't exactly stand out as much as that Pearl Gonzalez win. Calvillo, I was super high on up until her last fight against Esparza. But then again, Esparza has really turned a corner in the last couple fights. The whatchamacallit fight is a great example of that. The Claudia Gadelha one.
Yep.
So it's definitely a tough one to pick. I'm going
to go marijuana, dude. Marijuana wins again.
How do you have her taking it?
I think it goes decision.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The odds, good sir. What would you guess?
See, the problem with you asking what I'm guessing is it makes it hard for me to write this down while you're reading. Oh, excuse me.
Never mind. So the odds
I'm gonna say Polyana is a sizable favorite at this point because of the weigh-ins, like 180, minus 180.
Very good guess. She is a minus 185.
Yeah. I'm guessing she probably was not that high until the weigh-ins, and then jumped up from like minus 140 to minus 180.
Well, who definitely wasn't high at the weigh-ins was Calvillo. She's almost dead.
You know who definitely could be high at the weigh-ins is Botelho. Yeah. Miss Marijuana.
Marijuana? All right.
La Bota.
Next up, we have a bantamweight scrap between two guys who I think actually fought each other on Tough Latin America Season 1. So this is a rematch.
Do you have any idea how upset Polyana Marijuana was when she got to Detroit and she realized it's the Motor City, not the Mota City?
Very true.
You're welcome. You guys are all welcome for that long-ass trip to that spot. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. So Marlon Chito Vera, Venezuela's Marlon Chito Vera, not Colombia's. I believe it's Venezuela. Am I wrong? I don't fucking know.
You could be
Ecuador.
Right.
I'm way wrong.
Ecuador.
Yeah. So that's the thing with 3 Latin American countries having the same fucking colors and horizontal pattern. They just all have different crests. Or no, wait. Colombia doesn't have a crest. God damn. You see what it is here? It'd be like you have the American flag. Never mind. I'm not going to explain it. Anyways, no, it's like the New Zealand flag, the Australian flag, mixed with the Hawaiian flag and the Great Britain flag. Anyway, no one gives a fuck about that. Marlon Chito Vera's fighting.
That was flag knowledge with Chris.
Yeah, Marlon
Hope you guys enjoyed the new segment.
Yeah. Cue in shitty outro. Anyways, Marlon Chito Vera, who we care about.
I almost did super racist Mexican mariachi music as the outro, and then I bailed.
Oh, now you committed. So, he's fighting against a ninja. Whoa, what did you say? Just kidding. He's fighting against another Italian, Guido Canetti, which literally is saying,
I get it, because
your name is
ninja.
Greased up slick Italian Canetti is his name. He's a goddamn Guido. What do you expect?
Also, I think John Anik at one point on his podcast this week said you can't say the word Guido on TV, even if it is his name.
I guess it could be derogatory.
Calling him Guido or something like that.
Oh, dude, I think I've heard him say Guido.
It might not be that, but it's not Guido. He doesn't. You will not hear John Anik call him Guido this weekend.
Okay, so Ninja Kennedy it is. So Marlon Vera. Last time we saw Marlon, he defeated Waluigi Burin. Waluigi, who's definitely not in Super Smash Brothers, as some people would want.
Not confirmed.
Not confirmed. Defeated him via body punch at the end of round 2. For that, he was on a 2-fight schedule. Well, his schedule is gnarly. He fucking
that's a fucking
John
rough
Lineker,
list.
Douglas Andrade, Ninja Kennedy. Last time we saw him, he won a unanimous decision over Diego Rivas, which I believe was a very fun fight. Wasn't that the one that was also in Argentina early this year because he was the home guy? No. It was It was in Chile. Yeah, it was in Chile. Ponzinibbio was on that card.
Chile,
because remember, Argentinians hate Chileans. We've discussed this before. There was a war way back when. They fucking hate each other.
That was the Maya Usman
That was sick.
card.
I like that fight because the crowd was like, boo to Kennedy.
Yeah, we were actually, that was, I totally remember
we
that
called
night.
it. We're like, the crowd is going to hate this motherfucker, and they did.
Yeah, you nailed it.
So, Cheeto, luckily for him, luckily for the crowd, he's not Chilean, so they're not going to boo him a lot. They probably still don't like Ecuadorians. Let's see. So, where am I leaning? I'm leaning Cheeto. Sure, Kennedy got that win. He's on the older side. I just like Cheeto, man. We've seen what Cheeto could do. He's fucking stood and banged with motherfucking John Lineker, man.
And he looked like a beast in that last fight.
I like Cheeto.
Waluigi.
I like Cheeto in this fight. Dude, he's only 25. Holy shit. That's right.
Well, and those losses he took, number one, he seemed to have grown from both of them, and number two, they were rough outs for him.
Is he at Jackson Wink, by the way? It says he's fighting at Albuquerque. Wouldn't surprise me.
Really? Yeah, I don't know.
I know there's that other famous gym in not as famous, but there's another gym in Albuquerque. I can't remember who the fuck.
Yeah, it might. I think it might be the other one. I forget the name of it. Yeah, X Gym or something.
By the sounds of it, I imagine you're leaning towards
X Gym is
Cheetos.
Florida.
You're leaning towards Cheeto as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Cheeto. I'm gonna take Cheeto by sub.
I like it. I like that call.
I think he snatches something tricky. He's very crafty on the ground, and I feel like Guido is gonna have trouble on the feet. So I feel like he might get caught in something in the entries. The thing I'm curious about, though, is it's either that or decision, but I'm going to take sub.
So the odds on this are a Marlon Cheeto Vera is a minus 315 to a plus 245 Ninja Kennedy.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me.
Yeah. Next up, we have a middleweight bout.
Did you say you had him by KO or by decision?
Oh, what? I said decision, I believe. I don't even remember now.
So. Yeah, I got him by sub, probably first or second. Probably second.
Next up, we have Brazilian fighter Cesar Ferreira, Mutante.
Fighting some fucking dude.
He's fighting a hurricane, Ian Heinich, who's 11-1. And
is this another Contender Series killer?
Yes, it is.
They fucking hate these dudes. I don't know what's wrong with them. They fucking hate the Contender Series fighters.
So
they're just punishing Dana White for signing all these dudes.
Yeah, I'm going Cesar Ferreira just because I know he's murdered people before.
This is a crazy mismatch. Yeah. I mean, unless I'm missing something.
Well, let me just go ahead and
look at the fucking difference in the roster of who they've fought.
So the reason why I just said whoa is I looked at the odds. I'll tell you the odds and you'll be like, whoa.
Cesar Ferreira better be a minus 800 favorite or above.
Yeah, try a minus 190. What?
Okay, I guess I don't know who I'm talking about
so
then.
This hurricane guy, we must be underestimating this motherfucker. This guy must hit like a fucking Mack truck.
I guess, dude.
Like, but wait, what's he? Elbows from guard? Oh, he knocks someone out from elbows from guard. That's interesting. Punch.
To be fair, I haven't done any tape study, so.
Well, I'll just say this:
lie.
I'm still sticking with Ferreira, and if he gets knocked the fuck out, then we know why he's only minus 190. So I'll leave it at that.
How you taking him?
I got him by knockout.
Like first or
Second. I think it's one of those fights where he doesn't really know his opponent that well, so they just kind of they test the waters early, kind of feel him out, and then he just kind of unloads, I guess.
I'm probably going to go sub.
I like that too.
Probably first round. I'm thinking. I just don't see a way that he doesn't end up. Like, even if Mouton starts losing striking exchanges, I just don't see a way he doesn't end up on top and get a sub. Like, probably head and arm or get the back.
Yeah.
It seems crazy to me that it would go any other way. That's the kind of shit I may end up actually playing tomorrow. That is kind of crazy that line looks like that.
I think it's a good line to play. So, next up, we have a light heavyweight bout between American, we know him, Khalil Roundtree, the Warhorse, looking like he belongs in Red Dead Redemption with that mustache of his, going up against the Brazilian Scotch drinker himself, Johnny Walker, as they might call him, Yanni Walker.
That's right.
Let's see, Khalil Roundtree, last time we saw him.
Yanni Walker Brown, am I right? Is that not?
We can
go.
go.
Okay.
That's perfectly fine.
Okay. I don't think it's okay.
It's definitely not okay. Let's call him Johnny Walker Black Hair. No, that doesn't
Still
work.
bad.
It's stupid as
Still
fuck.
bad.
He's just Yanni Walker. Khalil Roundtree. Last time we saw him, I saw him in person. I saw him knock Gokhan Saki the fuck out. Caught him clean on a counter. That was real good. July 7th on my birthday.
Yeah. Goddamn damn near killed a man.
Yeah, damn near knocked his fucking block off his head. Knocked his block off. I fucked that up. Anyways, you know what I was going with.
Before that, his last loss was Tyson Pedro.
Oh, wow.
Which is no shame. 2016
2 years ago,
Tyson Pedro catching.
2 years ago. Okay. So he's lost to some grapplers. What about Yanni? Let's look at Yanni here. Mr. Scott Draker. He's a Contender Series guy. Oh, wow. Do we see the trend here? Do we see who's getting fed? So, I'll say this. Got my boy Khalil Roundtree, Mr. Red Dead Horseman, by brutal knockout. Round 1. Bing, bang, boom. How about you? What do you think?
I am going to take a controversial stance right now.
Ooh. I like
I have
controversy.
him by knockout round 2.
I thought you were just like round 3. Like, how dare you? Does he just not?
No,
does he just sit down on his stool for the first 2 rounds? No, but I would say, does he sit on the stool for the first 2 rounds and avoid them? But yeah, you're right. He probably doesn't make 3 rounds. The odds. What are the fucking odds? The odds are Khalil Roundtree is a minus. Just like how the fuck was his last odds to another Dana White Contender Series? Minus 185. So Mr. Yanni Walker is probably going to try to get some Roundtree to drink out some scotch. Get him a little buzzed. Even the odds. So,
boy.
Yeah, I don't know.
How those references going over there?
They're terrible.
While I'm typing
They're
this?
terrible.
Is
yeah.
it going well?
They're real bad.
You're not. You sounds like your references are drowning in whiskey.
They sure the fuck are. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just surprised by these odds against the Contender guys.
Yeah,
Minus 185.
I think
like, what
nobody
the hell?
is paying attention to this card. Also, is the thing.
No one's actually paying attention to us talk about this fight, so at least we got that. That's fine. However, they are paying attention to us on this next fight, the co-main event, a fucking featherweight bout between Ricardo the Bully Lamas and Darren the Damage Elkins. This should be a good one. At least we hope so.
Should be.
Ricardo Lamas, last time we saw him, who by the way is 36 years old, 18-7 is his record. He last fought against Bosnian fighter Mirsad Bektic and lost a close fight I think he just kind of got grappled a lot, got wrestled, taken down, controlled in the ground.
And Mirsad Bektik's a tough out for anybody.
Yeah, that guy's rising in the ranks. I mean, that's still one of the most stacked divisions in the entire UFC. Before that, Lamas got knocked out by Josh Emmett. So he's on a 2-fight skid, but he's still a tough out. Darren Elkins is another tough out because he is the damage. I mean, this guy. Speaking of Mirsad Bektik too, that was a fight about a year and a half ago that he won, which we will always remember because it's like straight of a Rocky movie. After that fight,
you know what? That is a great point, Chris. Way better comeback than
Yair.
TKZ Yair. That's a way better comeback.
Yeah.
That's a way better.
It's better as in it's a better comeback. It's less shocking because it's
more dramatic.
The Yair fight's just more shocking.
Shit beat out of him for that entire fight.
Yeah.
Also, I would the quintessential answer to the best comeback, by the way, since we're bringing it up, is 100% Scott Smith versus Pete Spratt. Nope, not Pete Spratt. Scott Smith versus fucking Matt Serra's boy, who he always talks about.
Drago? Yeah. Drago Sell.
Yeah. Drago.
Wow, look at us with the fucking Rocky references unintentionally.
Well, you know what I'm talking about, though?
Yeah.
The fucking one where he hits him with the body shot, and the dude rushes in and kills him with an overhand, and then dies on the ground after.
Speaking of which, I think the premiere...
Greatest comeback ever.
Speaking of Rocky, I think the premiere for Creed 2 was today. So, interesting. Where, in that movie, Adonis Creed fights fucking Drago's son.
Listen, there's one Rocky movie as far as I'm concerned, and it's Rocky 4.
Yeah. And this is basically Rocky 4.5?
Rocky
4.2?
Well,
Rocky 8.
actually,
Let's just go that.
You're right. It kind of is Rocky 4 again.
It is, yeah. It's Rocky 4 2018. And I'm definitely going to see this because I loved Creed 1. I thought that movie's fucking sick. I loved that movie. That movie was great.
I actually never got around to it. But then again, I've never been like... Rocky movies, I'll
just say this. Rocky 1 is... The first 3 Rocky movies are classic.
The first 4
are classic. 5 is where he fights Tommy Morrison, a.k.a. Tommy Gunn in that movie, in a street fight, which is just whatever. Rocky 6 never happened. And then Creed is Rocky 7, kind of. And Creed is great. I think you would legitimately like that movie.
4 is the fun one where it's just music videos and his uncle fucking a robot, right?
It's just him and Apollo running on the beaches to Hearts on Fire and him like in the mountains trying to get revenge.
Yeah.
To avenge vengeance for...
Pushing tractors in snow and shit.
Yeah.
It's
driving
great.
around his Ferrari in the 80s. Yeah, it's like a high speed on the roads in Hollywood. In his mansion. So, how do we think this fight's going to go? That's the important thing. Rocky's not important right now. Even though we do like Rocky.
Good point. We're not previewing
Darren
Rocky
Elkins
right now.
is on an impressive little victory here.
Run.
Well, he's coming off a loss to upstart
but
contender.
Decision loss to Volkanovski is not bad. It was a rough loss, though. He took some fucking shots in that fight.
Yeah, he takes
and
damage.
And then before that, he was on a crazy run.
Yeah. I kind of leaning Lamas. I think he's gonna.
It's really hard.
Part of me thinks it's gonna come to the dirty boxing, and I think he's gonna clinch up Elkins' knee and give him. I think he's just gonna rough up him. A lot of body shots I've seen, uppercuts. This is how this guy. I think this goes to decision. I don't think someone gets finished. I think they both just take damage like crazy. I just see Lamas squeaking out a decision. This will be a very close fight.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm gonna go Lamas as well, but I'm gonna go Lamas TKO.
I like that.
Darren's been through some fucking wars lately, and his last fight was only 5 months ago.
Dude, just look at his fucking brow line. Like, it looks like
and he's like just taken the amount of damage he has taken is understated. And I love Darren Elkins. Don't get me wrong. I've been on the Darren Elkins train for a while, pre-damage tattoo and post-damage tattoo. That's how big a Darren Elkins fan I am. But it's just hard, man. It's hard seeing a dude take that much damage.
Damage. That's his name. That's his new name now. It's just Darren Damage. We always anoint little the sound of violence nicknames. You know, you've heard them all, from Nike Pierce to Pollyanna Marijuana to every
Damage.
Damage. So yeah, I think we both have Lamas then.
Yeah, I gotta take Lamas by TKO second.
So the odds are.
But I would not be surprised though if Darren Elkins wins a scrappy decision.
Yeah, that would not surprise me either.
It really, I think, comes down to the scrambles and who's able to end up on top, or who gasses first.
Yep.
Whereas, does Elkins take too much damage and gas, or does Lamas either throw too much and gas from hitting Elkins, or constantly engage in the wrestling with him and then gas from that?
Yep. So, here we go with the odds. Ricardo Lamas is the favorite at -175 over Elkins, who's a +145.
Okay, yeah,
So
that sounds about right.
That sounds about right. So, this brings us to a welterweight bout. Between
Sorry,
two.
I don't want Bruce Buffer to sue me.
I'm not gonna do a Bruce. Main event between the evening.
One promise, listeners: we will never ever hire Bruce Buffer to do the intro.
Yeah, no.
Because I don't need to hear it. You don't need to hear it's time from Bruce Buffer every time before we start. I don't need to hear it. Also, I prefer totally legally, quote unquote, using other podcasts clips that I think should get heard.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's pretend like I didn't talk about that because I'm still curious. That's one of those don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness kind of things that we're just not going to mention.
So here we go. We have Neil Magny, the American fighter, who's 21-6. He's 31 years old, 6'3", a tall and lanky welterweight, going up against yet again another Italian fighter, Argentinian Italian fighter, Santiago Ponzinibbio, Gente Boa. He's 32 and 6 feet tall. If I remember correctly, he is a Muay Thai fighter, kickboxer. He's a kickboxer. Very, very good technical striker, I believe. Very good. He's a pressure fighter, likes to put you against the fence. Look at what he did to Mike Perry. Mike Perry's a tough son of a bitch, too.
Keep your eyes, wear goggles if possible.
Thank you. And wear goggles. I think that's going to be actual factor, and some people like to, push that aside. They go, that's not going to mean shit. Neil
and Santiago both reach with their hands a lot.
So expect a lot of patty cake early.
A lot of patty cake and a lot of are they switch? I don't know. Are they switch stance? One of them's left-handed, right? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Oh, so his reach, Ponzinibbio has a reach of 73. Neil Magny, holy shit! I always forget. That's insane. He's a welterweight with a reach of 80. That is insane.
Yeah, but he doesn't use it.
Yeah.
He paws
he's
with open hands.
He's the Stefan Struve of welterweight, where Stefan Struve has insanely long legs. It doesn't.
Not that bad. Nobody's that bad.
I know. Okay. Excuse me. Sorry, Neil Magny. I just offended you slightly. Didn't mean that. But
no, Neil Magny mostly just paws a lot.
Dude, just fucking jab, please.
Well, he does, but he shows it more than he stings it. You know what I mean? Conor Rebush was talking about that this week on the MMA section, I believe. But the thing is, there's gonna be some eye pokes in this fight. Looking at this on paper, there's gonna be because they both paw a lot.
So here's the last 6 fights Magny had. Last time we saw him was May, and I'll just go back. So May of 2018, he defeated Craig White via knee and punches at the end of the first round. He was supposed to fight Gunnar Nelson, that got canceled. Before that, in December 2017...
Craig White was late notice. Right, that was what the late notice was. Yeah, Gunnar Nelson.
He defeated Carlos Condit unanimously, I think, which was Carlos Condit's return fight. Before that, he got submitted by Rafael dos Anjos.
Devastatingly, very quickly.
Before that, he unanimously defeated Johnny Hendricks. And then did you see who he's fought? Obviously, Hendricks was a shell of his former self, unfortunately, at the time. He got elbowed to death at the end of the first round to Lorenz Larkin in 2016. He's supposed to fight Dun Hyun Kim, and then he also he grounded pounded Hector Lombard. Oh, and he split decision victory Kelvin Gastelum. So yeah,
that was By the way, I still think Kelvin Gastelum won that fight. I'm still salty about that one.
Yeah, it just brings me back to more fights I need to watch again. Santiago Ponzinibbio
has been on a nasty run of dudes. God damn, that record looks good in retrospect.
So the last time we saw him was about a year ago, December 16th of 2017. He decisioned Mike Perry in a very brutal fight. That was a fun fight.
He beat the shit out of Mike Perry in that fight.
Perry had some good shots, but
still, he got bombed on.
Ponzinibbio before that knocked out Gunnar Nelson. Some people blame the eye poke for that. Who fucking knows?
It's a combination of things.
I mean, eye pokes. Look at the Stipe
but he did
DC
eye poke
fight.
the shit out of him.
I mean, DC
a couple times.
DC's eye poke definitely fucked up Stipe. Not trying to make excuses for Stipe, but it's not a. It's I mean.
Also, Alistair tapped. Stipe felt it.
Yeah, so. That happened.
Oh no, wait, that's the other way around. I like it that I fucked that up and said it backwards. Actually, even more.
Hey, Chris, ask. Joe's gonna show you what happened. So.
Oh God.
I see.
Don't make us sit through that.
If you ask me right now, straight up, who wins this fight? I think Ponzinibbio wins via like a barrage of strikes against the fence. I think
hard not to picture that, right?
I think that's what's gonna happen.
Magny gets walked down.
Yeah.
And
I think he crumples
plus
him.
leg kicks.
I think he crumples him in the second round. Like the end of the second round. I think he just goes for blood early.
I think it has to be early if he takes it. Because the thing is, if this goes to the fourth round, I think Neil Magny really starts to take over this fight. You going TKO second?
Yeah.
You said?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I have to take Ponzinibbio in this as well. Which means I guess I have to take him really early. So I'm going to say first round.
Okay.
KO, TKO. But I would not be surprised if this gets to the third round and Neil Magny starts just outworking him 100%. Because Neil Magny also trains out of Denver, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He's got some cardio.
Which, exactly, on top of everything else. So, and I think he just on his own at altitude could outpace Ponz easily.
I know Ponzinibbio's at American Top Team. So he's got to be camp.
And he's a banger, and he's working his wrestling if he's down at ATT. Like, you don't really get away with that shit.
He's definitely training with Colby, even though they're in the same division. So no, he's not training with Colby.
Oh, probably. I mean, he might be one of the Brazilians that Colby
he's not Brazilian, so that's why I mentioned it.
Oh, right. Well, right. But I'm racist. So I think all the brown peoples look the same. I can't believe I fucked that up. I always forget he's from Argentina. Argentina?
Yeah, remember I told you all the Italians that he's an Italian?
Yeah. I never think about him being Argentinian. I don't know. Maybe it's the name Ponzinibbio it's Santiago.
Italian, though. Yeah.
No, and Santiago fucks me up because then I start thinking like, well, so he's Italian that went somewhere. Maybe he's Italian that went to some Latin American country. And then it starts just devolving.
Yeah, because Santiago is not an Italian name.
Oh, he's probably.
If you're thinking of anything like that, it'd be Santino. If he was like full Italian, it'd be.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's like you figure. Oh, well.
What you know what it is? You know what it is? It's his dad. Swear to God, it's his dad's family. They're the Italians. They moved down to Argentina. If I could talk.
Where did they move, Chris?
to Argentinian, to Buenos Aires. And his Italian dad probably hooked up with an Argentinian woman. And then there you go. They're like, oh, your name's Santiago. And he's like, oh, sta bene. And that's how it is.
Checks out. Also, this is a reminder, Chris's last name is Medaffer. So, just for the record.
Yeah, it's like, or it was previously Montefiore. Whatever you want. You know what? I blame the early Protestant settlers of the United States in the late 1800s because my Catholic Italian family would have been looked down upon, because that's just how religion worked in the United States. Isn't that fun? That's just fun how that works. Because totally the Pope was going to take over, right? So that means that's why the Irish were. Never mind. I'm not going to go into this stupid history. You know, if you want to ask him for history lesson, go ask Pat Wyman. He does better. So maybe we should tweet him about that.
That's
have him give us a lesson about it. Fucking just.
Oh, I'm sure he's already done an episode on it.
Yeah.
Tides of History podcast. Go check it out. Anyway, this is not a show about the Tides of History.
That reminds me,
podcast.
by the way, has the
We
UFC
both got Ponz, right?
Yeah. And
what's the odds on
odds
that?
are minus 240 for Mr. Ponzinibbio, Signore, and it's a plus one. It's a plus 190 for Neil Magny.
That seems a little wide.
By the way, has the UFC ever been to Italy? Now that I think about that, I know Bellator has. Actually, it's got me.
Venator, Bellator.
UFC? No.
I don't think they.
Dude, that's kind of insane, right? Or does Bellator gonna have like?
Glory has done a bunch of shows there.
Or does Bellator gonna have dibs, and they've already got like the Italian market?
Well, so I don't think the UFC finds it profitable enough to do it. It's one of those things.
Fuck,
they don't,
not
it's
even
not a
in
big
Rome?
enough market.
Yeah.
Not a big enough market.
Yeah. Unless they get like some smooth talking Italian guy who could just pull off some Connor shtick, then okay, or some knockouters. But yeah, other than that, I don't see it. So yeah, there is the Buenos Aires, the Argentina card for you.
Boom.
Couple of interesting
and also,
fights.
Congrats to oh my god, I can't remember her fucking name. I talked about her all day. I talked about her in the shows I listened to. I listened to her talk for fucking 4 hours today. What the fuck? What's her goddamn name? Chris, what is her name?
Oh shit.
Why can I not figure this out right now? Goddamn Felicia Spencer.
That's right.
Jesus
That's right.
Christ.
That's right. Congratulations again to her.
I kept getting confused with like 3 other people. I almost said Julie Kedzie like 6 times, and I knew it was wrong every time.
Also, just want to
Felicia
give
Spencer with the big win.
I kind of want to give a quick shout out because we didn't really acknowledge it. Not that we had to, but shout out to anyone who is affected by the California wildfires. It's a big deal. I know me and you.
That's right. Also, shout out to my sinuses, which have been affected by it.
Yeah, if you want to go there, I mean, sure. I mean, the weather's.
they have been.
The weather's affected my eczema. My skin is dried the fuck out. My arm is breaking out. It's fun. But in a serious note, there are people who are listed as missing. If you're one of those people, look at the public list that they sent out.
Also, if you're one of those people who's missing, maybe don't use our podcast to access the internet. Use the internet to access other people. Yeah,
use something called a
maybe
smartphone. That's probably
maybe don't have our show be the first thing you check out. When
there you go. Yeah, when you have a first responder go, oh hi, Mrs. Whatever. How did you hear about Mr. Whatever? How did you hear about this? Oh, I listened to the Sound of Violence podcast.
That's right.
Without them, I would not have known that I was not missing.
Yeah, we would appreciate a shout out to any first responders that you encounter if we're the first thing you've heard after being lit on fire.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I won't make. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Never mind. God damn it. I was gonna make a really terrible porn taste joke, but my joke went up in flames. So there's that.
Oh, nice. Jim Morrison the shit out of it.
Anywho,
you weed seasoned whatever the shit out of it. I can't remember which season she lit shit on fire in that.
Anyways, that's it for me. I don't know if you got anything else left.
I do not. I'm done offending everyone I like. I apologize. These things happen in MMA
on a serious note, if you do want to donate, I know there's the Red Cross. That's usually
don't donate to the Red Cross. I think that's a fucking fake organization.
I think you're actually kind of right. Isn't that true? It's just like
I don't think they actually help.
If you're gonna donate seriously though, like seriously donate to your local county, like San Diego County or California or any sort of like
or
local
find
government.
A person.
Like I'm dead sick.
Just
ask around.
Help.
Yeah.
There's
multiple ways you can help, whether it's donating clothing
or buy a Smokey the Bear T-shirt. I heard that helps.
Yeah. Also, don't smoke any sort of cigarettes or weed outside if you're in a desert and you're a lot of brush.
No,
just
let's
don't
not
do
get
it.
crazy.
Don't
you can totally
light
smoke it outside. Have somewhere to put it out in.
Yeah, do that. Campfires, put out your fucking campfires. Don't, if you're lost, don't
By the
shoot
way, are
a
we
flare.
doing PSAs for fires right now?
Quickly.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, quickly.
You've been hanging out with little Trevor too much, bruh.
Evidently, but then he's actually in New York right now.
Whoa, you can't. Well, there's no fires in New York except for trash can fires in Rocky 1 where Frank Stallone sings next to it.
That's true. Very true. Anyways,
Tied it all back in.
Anyways, I am done. That's it for me. Hope you guys had fun being offended.
Apologies ahead
Till
of
next
time.
time, as you say it, Chris.
Go do something decadent. We'll be back next week with more podcast stuff. TSOV Pod on Twitter. Give us a rating on iTunes. It helps. And like Chris just asked me to say before I said all that, go do something decadent. Yeah. Bye.